there are some early warning signs, and the Alzheimer's Association has 10 signs that they put out. You can go to their website, it's alzheimers.org. Mm-hmm. But memory loss that disrupts daily life, challenges and problem solving, difficulty completing familiar tasks in a familiar surrounding, confusion with time and place, spatial relation, articulating, having trouble expressing themselves verbally. That is a warning sign. Misplacing things. And I mean that by, it's not, hey, I forgot where I put the keys. It's, hey, I forgot where I put the keys. I can't remember the last time I had them, type of thing, or what I may have done with them when I did have them.
Lots of people can be, absent-minded, let's call them. And that's not necessarily a sign of dementia. It's really a marked change in the behavior, right? Because if I'm always absent-minded, then that's not a change in behavior. But if I'm forgetting names and I usually remember them, that's a marked change.
These are the triggers, things, just to be cognizant of and be aware of, and then monitor it. That's going to be really the message as we go along with all of this is more about monitoring and following through on than doing anything else. Diminished capacity in financial areas, this is one of those that is an early trigger, right? The ability not to do math and not to be able to handle simple math that we're talking about. But where it comes up, and Craig, we run into this every now and then, like where somebody is forgetting to pay a bill, mm-hmm. right? Or that's, not completing, like, hey, this need to get paid or that need to be dealt with. And it starts to lapse or start to have, lack of follow through on some of that. And then you have the starting the conversation. It's trying to suggest soft openers to this. Hey, I've been thinking about, long-term care for myself. What steps or what things have you done? Hey, I'm just, how are you feeling? The thing I sent out with the email, which was wondering, if you've noticed some of the changes in your behavior that I've noticed. Right.
Well, I think sometimes too, Tom, and you and I have run into this more than once, often, where, sometimes it's not the subtle thing, like the math skill or the fender bender they just had or something like that. It's usually something, like they had a fall.
It is not easy. Don't ever think it's going to be, and understand that you're going to get brushback. You're going to get pushback. The person is going to get defensive. It's, the way I described it in my blog is it's going to zig when you want to zag, right? It's not going to go the way you want it to go. It's just not going to happen that way. And so you got to be prepared to sort of roll with it and go with it, and don't get frustrated yourself in the conversation, because that's only going to add to more of the person pulling back or withdrawing from the conversation. Part of getting the financial house in order, basically, which is making sure that everything is set up and done appropriately, right? Where everything is today. Not where it's going to get to, where it's going to go, but just where it is today, which is just trying to help the individual understand where they are. And that may be something as simple on the screen that tells you, hey, trying to figure out the person's net worth. We say this all the time about updating and checking beneficiaries on an ongoing basis, because sometimes you just never know. Hey, wait, I had, like you said, I just found this account and whoa, it was, I named my uncle, right? I hadn't thought about anything in terms of dealing with it. And now it's, 20 years later, and I really should have named my wife or my kids, type of thing.
Well, even more than that, Tom, if you don't know you have those accounts lying around until you found the statement, if you're not around, how's anybody going to know you had any of this stuff going on? You could have a life insurance policy nobody knew about that never gets claimed. You could have an IRA with an old employer that, just sitting there that never gets claimed. That's how all that money ends up with the state.
The other side to getting your financial house in order is making sure that you have all the bills are being paid. The idea here is that you want to make sure that you've got all of this stuff set up, right? That the will is up to date, that there is a healthcare proxy. We're going to talk about power of attorney in a second, versus guardianship if somebody's really getting confused about it. But with that power of attorney, you don't want to give it to the wrong person, right, Craig, in terms of dealing with that?
Oh, yeah, because when you give them power of attorney, they can sign as you. You're really giving over a lot of power.
As Craig said, you really don't want to give away power to somebody, but in some cases you really should, right? You really need to find somebody that you can turn to and trust, and that power of attorney takes on a role. It's called durable power of attorney, and the durable power of attorney means that if you are incapacitated, unable to make decisions, unable to act on your behalf, that this person can act for you. And so you really need to find somebody that you can actually turn to and have take on that role for you. As Craig said, that person can sign for you. They can sign checks. They can pay bills. They can do all of the good stuff, but they can also do the evil stuff as well, which is they can sign checks and take money and do all the other stuff from your accounts. So you really need to understand and vet who that person is that you're electing to be that. And that might be something where you are involving the rest of the family or, trusted other advisors, whether that's an attorney, whether it's a financial professional, someone else that you might be able to run, accountants that you might want to bring in to have a conversation about, hey, I'm going to give, Johnny or Susie the durable power of attorney type of thing. One of the things here with Aries that we always recommend is having those conversations, making sure that you've got somebody that you can turn to, whether that's for legal, tax, or financial advice. And so certainly if you ever find yourself in a situation of needing somebody to turn to, part of what we do is build out that resource.
Have questions? Ask us. We can help with that. You can email Craig at crichardson@ariesfoundation.org, or you can visit the website to learn more about what we do and how we might be able to help you. www.ariesfoundation.org. Want to see more of this recording? Go to www.ariesfoundation.org/events. If you know an organization or community support group that could benefit from one of our workshops, reach out to Tom T. Alessi at ariesfoundation.org. Our mission is trying to help everyone have a better relationship with their money.